Hi, everybody. I tried to go to church today and I felt like I was going to die. Let me explain. Uh, I, my parents decided that uh, while they are going to go grocery shopping, they're going to drop me off at church along the way. And so the time came, like 9:30 this morning, uh, where we got into the car and we set off to drive. And I felt pretty anxious, um, but I decided to just still go through with it. And now, to give some context with anyone that doesn't know about my current situation, is that I've I've dealt with quite a bit of emotional instability uh, over like the last decade, and a lot of it has to do with severe chronic depression and severe anxiety. Uh, I used to have a lot of social anxiety. I don't really have that anymore, but it seems like my anxiety has shifted elsewhere. Where about just over a year ago, uh, I I experienced severe gut pain, and that has left me where I've isolated myself a lot more out of fear and anxiety to do like the severe anxiety where I would run into situations uh, that I experienced with the severe gut pain, and I it's sort of a trigger. And so now that we have some of that context, uh, here's the weird thing. All right, so we went on the car drive, and uh, I just felt like my anxiety was ramping up. I I was getting more and more stressed out. I first I first like strategy to work through it was just close myself off, wear sunglasses, have earbuds in, and just hood on and just tune out the world. Just keep my head down and tune out. That didn't work. I started to breathe very heavily, and so I just tore off my sunglasses, and I just I started panicking. Uh, I just was pulling my hair. I was breathing very deeply, uh, and I felt very alert. And just as the drive went on, this was all happening in the span of like 5 to 10 minutes, where I started to then uh, break down, started to cry, started to just. It ended up me just. We reached the town below ours, and I just. I. I felt like I couldn't take it anymore. And so parents uh, just turned the car around and we headed back home. Uh, some extra things that was going on during that period, like just like said before, I felt like I was in real danger. Uh, Of what? I don't know. I just I felt like my life was threatened for no reason. It's a sunny it's a sunny day. I'm in the car with two loving, compassionate parents, uh, planning to go to church, and I felt like I was in real danger for whatever reason. And a coping strategy I've developed uh, this week is I start to scratch my left arm uh, to the point that I actually start to bleed. I don't know if, uh, yeah, I guess you can start to see some of that, and some of like that. One of those dots is like dried blood. Um, and this is a completely new behavior that I've developed, and I've not had anxiety like this before, where I was hyper alert, and I was started to panic, started to get tremors, like my whole body shaking. It was like I was freezing, like shivering, even though I wasn't cold. And I I was pretty I was emotional, but at the same time level-headed, because my level head was still in the background, still observing this, where I knew things are okay, that I knew that I'm all right, that I'm okay, but my body, my emotions was saying something completely different than what I am consciously aware of. And so it seems there's this conflict where my nervous system is saying this sucks, you're in danger, uh, and my rational brain is just saying I'm fine, I'm okay. So it was this weird state where, as we were on our drive home, and I was still experiencing some anxiety, but knowing that I'm going back home calmed me down. I started to de-escalate, and but I would talk with my parents level-headedly, while I my actions were like freaking out. Like I was like scratching my arm. I'd be deeping breathing deeply, but I would then resume having a level-headed conversation. Um, and so something that I've gathered from this is that my attempts to overcome my anxiety of going out of the house, where these past few weeks I've been taking the bus to try to overcome it. It's only reinforced uh, the the notion that being out of the house is bad, and that you should not do it. My nervous system has learned has learned that, because when I'm out of the house, I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it one bit. I don't enjoy a second of it. Last week, I did get some satisfaction of overcoming my fear. I felt like I was truly living. But this week, I just I didn't like sitting in group therapy. I didn't like sitting on the bus. I didn't like walking around the mall. I just it just sucked. And so it seems like it's just being reinforced, and now these attempts have backfired. And then the second thing that uh, I've gathered from this is that my anxiety is localized, where I am anxious when I'm experiencing the trigger, which is being in a vehicle far from home. Uh, uh, and there's that experiencing the trigger, and then there's, before experiencing that trigger, the expectation of going out of the house far from home to be in a social setting for whatever, for just like the mundane things of like grocery shopping or seeing a therapist or whatever. I get anxiety when before I plan to take the bus, I start to feel anxious. Uh, and so that's really important, because once I have the expectation of going back home, right, like right now I know I'm going back home, I start to calm down, and the symptoms, they don't persist after. Like, there is a gradual period of de-escalation, of calming down, but unlike what I've experienced in the past, where it's been generalized anxiety, uh, where like I'm anxious in a social setting, uh, in that case, the symptoms, they would continue to persist for a while after being removed from that trigger. And so it's very important to distinguish between uh, these two. Uh, I don't know where to go from here. Um, I know that there are certain resources, um, like what I've just been procrastinating on is uh, looking into seeing a trauma therapist, where there's this new, very modern, updated, effective trauma treatment with like eye movement, where like you track like a finger or something going side to side, um, and the therapist talks you through visualizing this trigger, and re um, like imprinting a different emotion or thought to that trigger. And so when you experience the trigger, uh, you don't feel so bad. You feel better. I've just, I know it's something I need to do. It's just, I'm just not doing it. But other than that, my father has decided to take 2 days off work to help me. And I'm on a wait list for multiple things, like a, a psychiatrist, which can help better manage which meds I need. Uh, and yeah, I don't know. I thought I would document and share this especially since this is unlike uh this is completely new. Like this caught me off guard today with how bad my anxiety was. It's not been like this. And so I don't know. Like my throat felt sore, like, or it started to cramp up or hurt or whatever with how much breathing I was doing. Like I like my lungs were becoming fully oxygenated, because I felt like I was in real danger, and so I was primed to um, react and fight or fight or flee the situation. Yeah, uh, to say the least, it was a energizing experience, but not in a good way. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much it. I don't really have anything else to say, so you'll see me later. Bye.